Hey guys, it's ATV All Things Vita here, and sorry it took so long, but I'm going to give you my review of Little Big Planet Vita. Now, Little Big Planet Vita is one of the most critically acclaimed Vita games out there, and for a good reason. It is very unlikely you're familiar with the Little Big Planet series, but if you need a refresher, it's a platforming game where you play as Sackboy and follow his adventures. Now, Little Big Planet kind of started the whole play, create, share type of game that's so popular now. A platform for platformers, as Sony puts it, which isn't that far off what the game is. Now, the Vita game is, to be completely honest, the full Little Big Planet experience, with very little sacrifice for the handheld. In the story mode, you'll be playing through about 40 to 50 levels. But this isn't usually where I spend most of the time in Little Big Planet Vita, or any Little Big Planet. Although the story levels are pretty amazing. These levels are some of the best gameplay you can get out of any platformer, let alone the Little Big Planet series. They completely nailed the level design, even more so than the other games. Now, with the previous titles, I was played through the story just a few times to unlock all the items. In this game, I played through the story lots of times just for fun. I always thought that the story mode was just there to sort of show people what you can do and give them the materials to do it. This game feels less that way. Maybe it's just because it's the Vita and I'm somewhere bored with no internet connection, that's all I can play. But I still like the story mode very much. The touch and rear touchpad controls also work very well, which is strangely uncommon in Vita games, and I'm happy they implemented them. There are also about 5 arcade levels in the new Little Big Planet arcade, which are very entertaining and surprisingly long. There are also games like this scattered all over the story mode that can be unlocked by keys that are hidden in levels. There are hundreds of unlockables, from decorations to stickers to costumes to materials, which make it worth your time to play through the story multiple times, especially if you're an avid level creator. This brings me to the level creator. Now, not only does Little Big Planet Vita have all the tools from the first 2 games, but there are actually new tools, like the Saveinator, which allows people to save their levels, allowing players to save where they left off, and allowing creators to make more immersive games. Unfortunately, the creative mode in the Vita takes a lot less to fill that thermometer on the left side of the screen, which means some levels are just too big to make on the Vita. There are also touchscreen controls that make it a bit easier to create. There are also touchscreen controls which make it a bit easier to create, but if you don't like them, you don't have to use them. There's also quite a bit of lag when making bigger levels. Also, it is similar to the other Little Big Planet games in the way that the level creator is so huge that it makes it hard to make levels if you're just a beginner, even with the many tutorials. And if you do know what you're doing, you still have to go through some of the tutorials to get the tools. I've tried a few times and post a comment if I'm wrong, but you can't create with other people, which takes a lot of fun away. Now that I'm on the topic with playing with other people, I guess I'll mention that it works well on the Vita, but sometimes you will get some pretty bad lag. But in all, the level creator is basically the same as the previous game, with a few cutbacks for the Vita. Now, the user-created levels in Little Big Planet are really what makes this game great. This is where I always spend the most time in Little Big Planet games, and for the Vita, that is still the case. Even though the most levels you will find probably won't be as good as the ones you play in the arcade, there's occasional amazing levels that will blow you away. Although it's a disappointment to hear that the levels you made on PS3 games don't transfer over to the Vita, there are still enough amazing levels created every day to keep you coming back for a very long time. Many people say these levels are like the Vita's equivalent for the App Store. I've played classic games like Pac-Man and Frogger, and other things that aren't even games, like the piano level where you can just play a virtual piano. And probably one of the coolest features is that you can download up to 30 levels and play them whenever and wherever you go. This game is in some cases better than the first 2 games, and best of all, it's on the Vita. They have finally perfected the formula and then added even more, and you can play it on the go. With all the great user-created content coming every day in the creation mode, it will bring you back for months to come after you finish the story levels and collected all the items. Although it does suck that the levels on the PS3 cannot be played on the Vita, there are so many good levels already made on the Vita, it's not a big deal. There are also some small performance issues, but they are excusable with the graphics that are indistinguishable from the console game. My only huge problem is that after 2 whole Little Big Planet games, this game might feel a bit stale if you've been playing since the release of the first game. And all, this game is just as much as a Little Big Planet game as the first 2, and it is must-buy for the Vita. Thanks for watching. This is ATV All Things Vita. I hope you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more PS Vita content.